What have the Italian health authorities announced?
Well, the health minister, Orazio Schillaci, essentially said that these COVID-19 swabs are going to be mandatory for all passengers arriving from China to Italy, including those that are transiting in Italy. Now, Milan, the city, the capital city of the Lombardy region, already has been doing testing since Tuesday. And on the 26th of December, they tested 2 flights, one for arriving from Beijing and another from Shanghai, and they found that 1 in 2 passengers on those flights tested positive for COVID-19. As a result, the regional officials have been talking to the government officials, and so they've made this decision now to make COVID testing mandatory for all flights arriving from China here in Italy, not just to Malpensa and Milan, but also at the Fiumicino airport here in Rome. Now, the EU spokesperson has said that while most countries in the European Union agreed to lift restrictions earlier this year, it was really up to every country to decide how and when they would want to reintroduce them. The BF7 Omicron variant, according to the EU spokesperson that's dominant in China, is already here in Europe, but clearly the Italian authorities want to monitor further. In fact, the health minister has said very clearly that this is necessary and essential to ensure that there is surveillance and identification of new variants in order as well to protect the Italian population.
And Seema, what's been the reaction there in Italy to the idea of Chinese tourists coming back to the country, given that, let's not forget, Italy was one of the first European countries to be severely impacted by the virus?
Exactly, and it's not just Italy, but that region of Lombardy up north. Italy was ravaged by COVID-19 back in 2020, if you remember, and Lombardy was the global epicenter of the virus after it spread from China. So I think at this point in time, when things seem to be relatively under control, there is concern about what possible new variants could bring. And it's interesting to note that the top infectious disease hospital here in Italy, that's in Rome, the Spallanzani Hospital, they have been saying that it's important to monitor the emergence and intercept any new variants that may come about. And they believe that the China issue is a problem because there's a high number of people in that country that are not vaccinated, they say, and the vaccines that have been used there, according to people here in the West, are considered ineffective, some of them. And so there's a strong exponential growth of cases that we've seen could result in more variants, and possibly immune evasive variants is what they're referring to. And so because they're concerned about the situation in China and perhaps a lack of transparency on the data, they feel it's necessary to monitor the situation. And I guess it's a question of once bitten, twice shy, and wanting to be absolutely sure that they can protect the people here. Now, those passengers that have tested positive have been brought to isolation centers and special facilities. Let's not forget, here in Italy, it's still isolation rules are still in place. They range from anything to 5 days to 14 days if you do test positive. And so they're just carrying out what's already in place here in the country. Very concerned, of course, of any possible surges or outbreaks. Lombardy has already said that they will continue to do the testing on those arriving from China till the end of January.
Okay, Seema Gupta in Rome, thank you very much indeed for bringing us up to date.